Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fireside Chats. Fireside. A.R. Farina. That's the name of the show. Crazy, huh? I've got a fireside. It's not real. I can touch it. So welcome to the final episode of That Other Dashwood Girl / Sensibility. So the last episode I talked a lot about Maggie and who she was. I'm going to talk a little bit about the rest of the stuff I did and how I sort of adapted it while keeping true to it. So it's very important to me that the supporting characters do the things that they do while the main characters can change. So in Welcome to Mansfield, a lot of the supporting characters do what they do while the main character, Junior, my Junior, is a little bit different. In this book, it was important to me that Marianne and Eleanor marry the people that they marry, or end up with the people they end up with. So Eleanor has to end up with Edward's from the Edward Ferrars. Their older brother, John, has to marry. In the original book, it's called Fanny Dashwood. I call her Sissy Dashwood because her name is Frances, and Sissy is a nickname for that. And Marianne has to end up with Colonel Brandon. And in my case, not Colonel, just Brandon. His mom is a colonel. But he's a vet. But he wants to be a vet. He deals with animals. So anyway, those things were important to me. They have to be evicted from their home. That happens. They have to end up at the Middletons' estate, which happens Barton Park. So those things have to happen. But then my version of Maggie gets to change. And so my version of Gran is quite a bit different. So in the original book, there's Lady Jennings, who's John Middleton's mother-in-law, Lady Middleton's mom. And so, just Mrs. whatever you call her. So there's Lady Middleton and then her mom, Lady Jennings, Gran Jennings. And then I've sort of turned Gran into this person because I do believe that oftentimes young people and old people are disregarded in books and in life. And so I love to, in all my books, making sure that there's a younger person who has an older person who is giving them wisdom. Now, as you go through the books, you'll learn, and there's a couple of characters who are referenced in all 6 books or who are in all 6 books. So Dr. Allen, the history teacher at Mansfield, and President Bennett, they're in all 6 books and or mentioned in all 6 books. So Dr. Bennett comes up a lot in here, as does Dr. Allen. They're physically in the other books. And so sometimes they're the mentor to the people, especially in book 5. Dr. Allen will be a big mentor to Kat. But I think that's important because I do think I'm writing young adult fiction, and I think it's important that there's this trope in young adult fiction that you can just figure it out, all children can save the world. And I love the idea of these fierce, strong, independent young people. But they do need help. And the thing is, a lot of times your own parents, they're not the ones who can help. It's the generation above, or it's like somebody else. Your best friend's mom is cooler than your own mom. Your grandma offers better advice. Your aunt offers better advice than your mom, that kind of thing. So those are the things I focused on. And so in this case, Gran is this woman in her 60s that Maggie, who's just a young teenager, doesn't think about in any real way, because a 13-year-old thinks of a 60-year-old as one foot in the grave. But a 60-year-old has a lot of life left in her. She's still working. She's still doing interesting things. She's got a lot going on. So that is the part that I get to change, is this relationship between Maggie and Gran changes. The things that Maggie loves is different, and that just sort of, again, bore out from the first book, but then I just get to write it. So as long as I stick to the general idea of Austen's book, I can do whatever I want. I can make my own original book. And as the series progresses, I'm going to continue to change things up. And because now, not only do I have to just rewrite Sensibility or Pride and Prejudice or Emma, but I also have to fit in the characters from the other books, which Jane didn't have to do. I'm not saying that I'm better than Jane. I'm absolutely not. I'm saying I'm doing something different than her. And so my version of Sensibility is Sensibility. All the beats are there. We know who ends up with whom. All of that happens. But it's set in the now. It's set in this new world. There's mopeds and movies and iPods and iPhones, and all this stuff is happening. And I think it makes it more accessible, and I think it makes it no Jane Austen required to like the Austen Chronicles. And I think if you've never read Sensibility, you could read That Other Dashwood Girl and really enjoy it. And I hope that you will. And again, I don't want to spoil everything because you don't know everything about Maggie's journey. Just know that she grows, know that she becomes this amazing person, and most importantly, know that she doesn't do it alone, because nobody does anything alone. I don't write these books alone. Sure, it's me sitting in my office panging away on my keyboard, but my wife, who all books are dedicated to, she's the first reader, she's the last reader. I have editors, I have cover artists, Jen Kotick. I mean, my goodness, look at those covers. I've got copy editors, I've got people who do the typeset. I mean, the typeset in my books is just gorgeous. I mean, they put all this cool flourishing around there. So like the final print, it's not just me. And so Maggie's life isn't just her, it's her story, but you never reach anywhere alone. Nobody does. And I think that's what Austen really focuses on, is these heroes' journeys, these heroine journeys. They all have this supporting cast that's so important. They grow individually, every one of them. But they always have people who help them. And it could be their dad, or it could be their aunt, or sometimes those people work against them. But they're always on a mission, and there's always somebody to help. Every dancer needs a backup dancer, right? Every singer needs a backup singer. Like, unless you're just like doing a cappella solo, it's better with an accompaniment, right? And so that's what this book and all of Austen's books, and as we get into the next one with Pride and Prejudice, and then we get into Emma, there's these supporting, and even Emma, right, which is a book with just one person's name. So mine's called Jane, but Emma, you think it's about this one person, but that book is rich. It's got a big cast. Sensibility has a really big, robust cast, and I still think, and this is why it was so important to me to focus on Maggie, because people weren't focusing on her. She didn't seem important, but she is. Even when you go read the original, she's important to the development of Eleanor and Marianne. They make decisions, and their mom, they make decisions because of her. Sir Jennings, Sir Middleton, he makes decisions about her. And again, Gran Jennings, Mrs. Jennings, she makes decisions about Maggie. Maggie's so important. She's got this supporting cast around her. And so it's a robust, big world that I've created. So I hope that you like it, and I really think it's fun to think about the supporting characters. Patrick Ness wrote a great book called The Rest of Us Live Here. Rest of Us Just Live Here? I think that's it. Rest of Us Just Live Here. It's so good, and it's about the supporting characters, essentially inside one episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it's just beautiful and glorious. And Patrick Ness, if you haven't read him, you should. But if you've read me, you should. Please do. And then after you read my book, please send me a note. Tell me what you think of this. So join me in a couple of weeks where we will start the in-depth analysis of Jane Austen's most famous, I'll say best book. Not my favorite, but best. Those two things don't have to be the same. Pride and Prejudice. So join me in a couple of weeks. Won't that be fun? So thanks everybody for going on this journey on these Fireside Chats with me. I'll see you soon. Bye.